truly believe in what we're doing. We truly believe that our valley can continue to prosper. We're looking for ways, although we have seen how much we have done during the last 25 years, so we're on a rocket approach. We're going up, but I think we still can put some more energy into that rocket. All of you, without exception, believe that we can do a lot better. And we have three individuals here today that super believe in our community, I believe. We have Joaquin Spammer. Joaquin Spammer has been part of this community for a number of years. He's led several organizations, primarily CIL. We also have Jim Collins. Jim Collins has been here for a number of years also. I believe he arrived back in 1980. And he has led many organizations, many activities here in the Valley that bring prosperity to our region. And we also have LaMantia, Val LaMantia. She's with L&F Distributors. And that entity has also done so many great things for our community. So we're very happy, we're very proud to have these three business leaders with us that are going to share their thoughts on what is next for our valley, for our community. So Joaquin, a few days ago, you gathered with the community and business leaders to introduce the McAllen Nearshoring Industrial Park. You said this development brings innovation, progress, and prosperity to our community. Please tell us why you have so much passion for our community.
Hello, everyone. One question, how many hours do I have? Is it 10 minutes, 10 minutes? I just want to clarify what John and Eddie were saying. Yes, we had a great program. It was canceled because of COVID, but it went very well. Actually, what we were doing, we were getting all the employees on Wednesday, 12 o'clock. We would pay for lunch. They will get a certificate, and we will give them a bonus. And we had classes ranging from OSHA, safety, forklift operators. We actually had a history class, and it was very successful. Sometimes you need to get your employees and put them to do something completely different of what they do normally, no? And it was very successful. Well, I went to school to UTRGB with a friend of mine, Noé, and he's actually here just to see if I actually learned English in the past 40 years. But when we took the class, the speech class, they told us, when you don't know what to say, just tell them a story. That's your way out. So I'm gonna tell you a story. When I started doing business, I was in college. I was a sophomore, and we opened up a construction company. I was 23. We got the distributorship of a metal building out of a company out of California, and me and a partner, we started selling. We started selling, trying to get a project. 1 year later, we were able to get one. It was a $330,000 contract, $330,000 contract. And believe it or not, we asked my client to give us 10% down, and he gave us a check for $33,000. It took us a month to deposit the check because we didn't have a company. We didn't have the only thing we had was a business card, letterheads, and a very good attitude. 1 month later, we had a staff, we were building, we were solving the issues that we had. When we started, we didn't know the difference between a rebar number 4 and a rebar number 5. 6 months later, we had finished the building. And the reason I want to mention that is that there is a difference. I took a class in Monterrey lately, and there is a big difference between an entrepreneur and an administrator. And the biggest difference is how you approach things. Administrator, they want everything in their place before you do anything. You want, it's already enough. But it's true. You want your account department perfect in place. You want your operations department. You really want to talk to a lawyer. You want to have everything organized before you move one foot. The entrepreneur is completely different. He sets up a goal. He starts searching for that goal. And once he gets the contract or the opportunity, then he starts solving the issues. And one of the main responsibilities of an entrepreneur is actually solving the assets, the resources that you need in order to accomplish your goals. So the reason I was invited to the panel, it was to mention this. What do we do in the McAllen Nearshoring campus? This is what I think we need to call the RGB industrial revolution. The RGB industrial revolution is the nearshoring opportunity. And we have a way, we can approach these two ways. We can wait, get everything organized, get all the employees, get all the facilities ready before we go out and get opportunities. Or we can do it the entrepreneur way and go get the opportunities. And once we get the industry moving over to the valley, then we solve the issues. When I see the UTRGV, when I see STC, you couldn't be prouder. I mean, these guys, they can solve any employment issues that we have here in the valley. If there is let's talk about LNG. LNG is moving to Bronzeville. They are bringing 6,000 employees. I mean, were they going to be waiting for the employees to be ready, standing outside the office with a application form? No, they were going to move to the valley, they were going to start construction, and through the process, they were going to start solving issues. And believe me, we have the resources here to solve every issue. We've done it the past 30 years, ever since we signed the North American trade agreement, and we are going to solve all the issues that come our way in the next 30 years. That's my personal opinion. So why the industrial revolution? Industry is my personal opinion, is the engine. If you have a industry moving into the area, moving to the RGB, and I'm going to press RGB, then you have economic prosperity. And this is the Hidalgo County Economic Prosperity Task Force. So this is economic prosperity. Once you have industry here, then the retail sales go up. You have housing development booming. You have the reduction of property. So the first thing we need to concentrate on is actually bringing industry to the valley. But we have a problem, big problem. Nobody knows who we are. The only guys that know who we are is the guys here and about 1 million people here in the valley. No one else knows. Whatever they tell you, they don't know. And I have a story. Go back to the stories where you don't know what to say. I went once, I was starting my business, we went to Memphis, and we sat down with the logistics VP of a huge company called Donovan. The guys had been doing business with Mexico for 40 years. So I went over there and I was offering my services, and I was talking, and I had slides and presentations, and probably half an hour later, the guy tells me, hold on a second. He goes outside the office, he comes back with a map, and he tells me, where are you located? The guy had been doing business in Mexico for 40 years. He didn't know where the RGB was located. That's the way, that's real. So then when we were coming back, I was telling my partner, there is no way we are going to sell our services if we don't sell the RGB first. There is no way we are going to get any development, prosperity, property reduction. There's no way we're going to accomplish any of these goals if we don't sell the RGB first. That's the way I look at it. So I think that we have two solutions. One is working together. But both are working together. But one is how is the money being spent? And I have an issue with it. Because you have the McAllen Economic Development Corporation, you have the Port of Bronzeville, you have COSTEP, you have RGB Partnership, that is here someplace. You have everyone spending money in economic development. In my business, we spend over $500,000 in economic development ourselves. And if you talk to Vantage or you talk to LNF, they're spending a lot of money as well. If we were able to do a census of how much money is spent every year in economic development, the amounts are huge. But everybody's doing something on their side, nobody's organized, that money is not being multiplied. There is no synergy between all of us. So you have the private sector and the public sector, everybody working their way, nobody knowing exactly what's going on. We don't have enough information. Probably when I was hearing the presentation of Dr. Peak, I was impressed. He's giving us the real story. Where are we? Where do we come from and where are we going? That information is there. What we need to do as entrepreneurs or EDOs or any organization that is interested in economic development, we need to gather the information that is already there, the information that COSTEP has, the information that Eddie and John worked on, that Josh has been putting all together. Grab it, go out there, play it, win an industry to come over here, but we need to get organized. We need to make sure that the dollar spends are multiplied. That's the first one. The second one, we need a comprehensive marketing. I'm not doing that bad. We need a comprehensive marketing strategy that involves both the private and the public sector. We need to get everybody organized, and we need to break it into pieces. What is happening is that you have an EDO, an EDC, that goes to Mexico City, and they do a great presentation. Great. But then next week, there's another EDC going to the same place. We're wasting our time. And all these EDCs are promoting their city. We're wasting our time. Nobody, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it out loud, nobody cares who you are. If you are from Alamo, they don't care. If you are from Bronzeville, they don't care. We need to push the RGB, because then they're going to see that it's a region. But when they say Alamo and they Google Alamo, they don't care. When they see that it's Bronzeville to Zapata, it makes sense. So we need to start pushing. We need to divide. We need to have a very strategic marketing plan for everybody, and everybody that is doing something to get organized and say, okay, you know what, guys? I'm very good in Vancouver. I have some connections. I'm going to be pushing the RGB in the Vancouver area. And I'm going to meet with the Economic Development Corporation of Vancouver and with the Association of Manufacturing Companies, and I'm going to meet with all the city officials, and I'm going to take care of Vancouver. And CIL, I'm going to be playing Vancouver. So here comes, for example, McAllen. McAllen has been doing a very good job in South Korea. Leave South Korea for McAllen. You can see, I'm going to probably say something that I should be saying, but let's say San Benito. Let's say that San Benito doesn't have a big budget. Go to Houston. Take care of Houston. Go to all manufacturing associations in Houston and talk about the valley. So suddenly you're going to have all these ambassadors taking control of different areas in the world. It could be China, it could be South Korea, it could be, for example, the Port of Bronzeville was telling us that they have a lot of influence in the northern part of Europe. and they say, we can take care of that. It's great. So you have all these different organizations taking care of different areas of the world and doing something we need to do is to be selling exactly the same concept, the RGB. That's my personal opinion. We won't accomplish anything. I'm going to say something that it might sound wrong, but we're not going to accomplish nothing, anything. If we keep on gathering together, talking to each other, coming out very nicely in all the pictures in the Rio Grande Guardian and different media here, it doesn't work. We can be talking to each other. We're preaching to the choir. I mean, there's no sense of me trying to convince Adam that we are a great region. He already knows. We need to go out there. Actually, Adam is going to La India next year. That's what we need to do. We need to get out of the valley. We need to get organized. We need to work together and go out and bring business to the RGB. Let me close this. Yeah. Something that they say. We have very bad press. That's true. One bad press is equivalent to 20 good ones. So we need to go out there and start talking good about the valley in order to offset the bad press that we have on the region. No? We need to get all the stakeholders organized, the EDOs, the cities, the developers, the realtors, the banker, etc. You know? And we need to change the mindset. I'm going to finish with this. Whenever they ask me, where are you from? I'm not from McAllen. I'm not from Mission. I'm from the RGB. And that's the message that we need to send from now on. We are from the RGB. We need to change it. No? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jim, you have been in the Valley since 1980 and believe it is a blend of cultures and values that make it an outstanding place to raise a family and a friendly environment to conduct business. Please tell us why you believe so much in our region.
I think the greatest resource we have is our people. Not only from the demographics we have more people per household, children per household. We have a younger population than the average. Those two things will ensure growth for the future. Now, what we do with it, we've got to channel it and allocate it and aim and target for the right areas. We are already accomplished the greatest things that could ever be done for our area by having the educational institutions here. And the heavy lifting's been done. Now it's up to us to come together as a group and pinpoint our targets. The spirit of the people is great here. We've had fantastic leaders who have cared a great deal about their communities. It's very rare to hear somebody talk about our population is overweight, or that just the many things that our leadership has done selfishly. They serve a lot of time, and I would put our leaders against anyone in the state. We have a lot of wonderful attractions, Quinta Mazatlan, the zoo, all the museums. We have things to attract people and companies. One of the things I think business and the education and the educational institutions must be together. I think it was refreshing to hear the economics that we heard today. I mean, it's fact versus the narrative that has been for a long time. One of the things I think is our message that we get out. It's been negative for a long time. being the lowest per capita, highest unemployment rate. But why don't we tell him more stories about SpaceX and the things that we're attracting? We're one of the best known secrets. We're the least known great area and we need to get that message out. One thing I do think we lack are looking forward are our facilities. For warehousing and the nearshoring, we should be having some spec warehouse and areas designated for that. I think we're behind in that, but I think we can catch up. It's just we're behind. One of the other areas is I hear we need to find advantages that we have over other border cities, other areas, such as we have long lines at the bridges for our trucks trying to get across. I know there's a trade union and other things that leaders have come up against, but we need to solve that problem or make it an advantage where they're going through quicker than the old trade zone was a great advantage at one time. But we need to continue to update our advantages wherever we can get them. I want to tell a story about retail a little bit. We developed a number of shopping centers in the valley, and we try to, we go to International Council of Shopping Centers meetings, and we try to talk to the directors of real estate at various companies. But it really wasn't, we didn't get very far as an individual company trying to push our one shopping center. What really made the difference was the director of real estate for Walmart left Walmart and went to Target. And he knew these sales that Walmart was creating. And so Target came in with a little bit different flavor, a little bit higher target market for their customer, and they've succeeded. So I'm not trying to say that we'll appeal to the highest per capita people or the highest income earners, but we sure do hit I think our retailers that are here know their market, they're discounters, they're masters at their art. The Ross, the Burlingtons, the discounters are really hitting the market, and they really are very successful here. I never thought Donna, Texas would have as many cars in the parking lot in front of Burlington and Ross and Didi's. It's amazing. It's very successful. And that's been repeated all up and down throughout the valley. So, and I think I need to get the message out of the success. I'm taking one industry, the retail industry. Well, it took the word of mouth between real estate directors to really get that where everybody understood. I was a doubter of Starbucks. I thought our region was so hot in the summer that who would want to drink coffee in the afternoons? Well, look at how many Starbucks. I can tell you that one of the stores I have, they're doing over $2.5 million. I mean, it's phenomenal. So whatever the Lubies, I mean, time and time, many of the stores are their top stores along the border. And so the border has attraction, and we're competing against other border cities. But we have our natural advantage of freight that's going to the east. We should take advantage of that. I also want to congratulate the idea of bringing us all together. Judge, thank you, and thank you for the heartfelt care that you're giving to our county, and and to the valley. Other organizations I just want to point out that do just such a great job are the Catholic Charities that are helping process our immigration, and then the Salvation Army, who is so good at when they have someone who's in need, they know the channels to take that person through to, and what programs that help them best. Those are two outstanding examples of service organizations. And then I just want to end on saying we all have to change our public relations, our publicity for the valley. We need to, for every drug cartel news story or fentanyl death or immigration issue, we need to at least have a positive economic fact getting out about how great the Rio Grande Valley is. And the foundation's been laid and the hard work's been done bringing in the educational institutions. And just I work in a family office, and they talk about 3 generations, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves. Well, the first generation works their rears off. They're hard workers. The second generation enjoys what the first generation did, and they're not, and if they're good stewards, they'll increase it. But a lot of them don't. And by the third generation, they're just coasting. Well, in our area, a lot of the times we're facing and have the advantage that a lot of these young students are going to college and they're the first in their family. That is a big deal, and that motivation and I know it was to my parents is to be sure that your child got the opportunity to go to college or a trade school that made all the difference. And so we have the advantage of the education, so let's everyone try to use it, and let's partner with our educational systems. I think job placement, you can tell what age I am. I'm 70, and we had all the universities had job placement departments. Well, nowadays it's LinkedIn and by internet, whatever the most common way is, but we've got to promote and keep and retain our jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much, Jim. You know, Val, L&F Distributors has been in the community for many years. Please tell us more about your business and some of the key reasons for the prosperity you bring to our region.
Well, first I want to thank you for inviting me here. It's been very informative. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about a history that you may not know about us, and then kind of go into where we are now and what the future is. So my grandfather came over on a boat from Italy with his family, and he settled in the Chicago area. We were in agriculture, and from the very beginning until the time he passed, he had grown his business to be one of the largest in the company of produce. He was the middleman between the growers and the people that actually sold to the retailers. And then, so fast forward to when my father came to South Texas, we were also in the agricultural business there in Creed Springs. Then we moved to McAllen and kept with the agriculture business to about the 70s. We bought a small warehouse. My father bought a small McAllen Budweiser distributorship and had 10 employees. And we started with that, Bud Light, and well, Bud Light did not exist, but Budweiser was there, and we were, our market share was probably 30%. It was very low. And then over time, we now have 6 warehouses throughout Texas and New Mexico. We have a sister company called Favorite Brands, so together we have 11 warehouses with them. And so with both Favorite Brands and LNF, we cover all of Texas and most of New Mexico at this point in time. My father has passed away, but he instilled in us a lot of values, and I know most of you either knew of him or had met him before. And he and my four brothers and myself are running the companies now, and we have a next generation that is coming up, which I'll visit with a little bit later. But there are some things that I think were important to us as we grew up. Hard work was something that we were definitely taught to do. Honesty, humbleness, and love of your community. And I think just being thankful for everything we got and trying to do even better than we were always instilled in us. And I feel like that is something that all companies should instill in, not only in their families, but also in their workers as well. We had started about 20 years ago with my father starting this. It was a STAR scholarship fund that kind of brought along as we grew. With LNF, we asked the community to help us. It was a grassroots organization that provided scholarships for people that came from our area in which we served. And so today, we have given out over $38.9 million worth of scholarships to about 19,000 students. And I think that, thank you. And LNF does a lot throughout both Texas and New Mexico, just because we believe that we need to give back. But I think this is probably something that we all are the most proud of, because it is an education where 59% of the people that get this scholarship are first in their family to receive it, and over 60% are women who receive this scholarship. So we've always been very proud of this and what we've done. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Getting back to LNF, we not only distribute Anheuser-Busch products, but we distribute, several years ago, we started distributing everything. So wine, champagne, waters of all kind, Red Bull. So anything you drink, Nestle's, anything you drink, we distribute in Texas and in New Mexico. So we have a large distribution area, and we have about 2,000 employees that we employ throughout both the states. About a year ago, we had kind of a little bit of a snafu in the Bud Light debacle, which I don't know how many of you remember that or not, but it was something that we had nothing to do with, but because we were affiliated with a national organization, Anheuser-Busch, it was one post one time, and it affected our sales, our Bud Light sales, which was our #1 brand, and it went from our #1 brand down to almost non-existent for a little bit. And that kind of threw us through a loop. And I think that everybody can, no matter what you sell, at any point in time in your business, it can just drop for no reason that you did anything other than you just sold that product. And so over the months and over this last year, we've kind of come back somewhat, but it made all of us ponder a little bit that, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you are in the community, no matter how hard you work in the community, sometimes things just happen, and under your control or not your control, your business will just, suddenly cease. And so we've come back from that, but I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned in that, and a preparedness that everybody needs to take when they are out there trying to sell whatever they're trying to sell, that you need to be prepared, and you need to understand that when things like that happen, you have to have a plan, which I don't think our Anheuser-Busch did at the time. And it's just not put your head in the sand, but it's, get out there and explain your reasonings and explain who you are as a company, which we tried to do, and I think we've done a pretty good job of it since. But it's just, one of those many lessons that you learn, as Jim said, if you've been around as long as we have. The other thing I think I've been asked a lot is, why did I stay in the Valley? You know, we grew up in the Valley, went to school here, and like Jim said, it's a great place to live. It's a great story to tell. There's a lot of good people here, and you have to tell your story over and over again. So I too give kudos to Richard for doing this, and I know over the years I've heard the same thing. You know, we need to get together. It's Friday Lights. We need to really promote the Rio Grande Valley, and I never say that I'm from McAllen. I say I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, or I'm saying I'm from 956. And I think our story is being told more, and I think people do realize more where we're from and what we're doing and where we are. When people come down from St. Louis and New York, from our corporate office, I mean, they think we're right next to Dallas, you know? No, we're 10 miles from the Mexican border, but they don't know any of this. So I think this is all important, and I think we do need to work together. And if your story gets squashed a little bit, or you know something goes wrong, you just have a plan, get right back up, and you tell your story again and again. So I just want to thank everybody for allowing us to come, and it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
I'm going to ask maybe a question for each one of you, one more question. Joaquin, so you talked to us a few days ago about the industrial parks and everything, all the industrial park in our area. What do you see there? What do you want to do with those parks?
Fill them up. Well, we need to attract business to the area. We need to be out there showing what we have to offer. It's unique. My personal opinion, I came to school to UT back then was Pan American University 40 years ago, and it is a great place. It's probably the best place where you can be. The problem is that we haven't been able to tell the story everywhere. We need to show what we have to offer to every community, every industrial community all over the world. We need everyone to know. It's very difficult. I went to China a month ago, and you spend half of the time explaining where you're from. You need to show them where the RGB is located, and it's not easy. And when you start telling them and they see it, they say, wow, it's the perfect location. It's the perfect location. But it's like Val said, people from, if in the United States, they don't know where we are, just imagine in China or Pakistan or Turkey, they don't know where we are. So yes, I think we're ready. I think that the supply side of the equation is ready. I think me and a lot of different developers are ready to build close to 20 million square feet of industrial space. It's ready to build. This is land that is already subdivided, ready to start putting buildings on that land. No? So what I think we need to do is join efforts and tell our story everywhere and go everywhere. Because let me tell you something, the guys from Guatemala, from Vietnam, from India, they're moving. They are telling their story. They are attracting the industry to those areas. Everybody wants in the new composition of how the businesses are getting more regional. Everybody's trying to attract that business to the area. A very good example, the governor of Monterrey. He's everywhere. He has gone everywhere. He's telling his story, and he has attracted $50 billion to the state of Nuevo León. That just proves that if you put the effort, you get the results.
Thank you. Jen, maybe you, from the things that you're currently doing, where do you see the most promise from the banking activities? Where do you think there is the most promise for our area?
I'm not sure I know that, but or I'd be doing it. But I think, in general, we're blessed that while one prospers, it has a multiplier effect and brings prosperity to the other businesses.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, for me to be successful in banking, I have to make loans and have to have those businesses grow and prosper. In shopping centers, you have to have the shoppers come and they have to have the ability to spend dollars. And so as we grow, that multiplier effect, it can be enormous. So it's just not, I first came here, we were a large part agriculturally oriented, just as Val's family said. But, and then I've seen it, look at what the medical industry has done in our area. It's just blossomed. I still think a lot of services, businesses will blossom. I think if I were choosing businesses, a lot of the franchise models are good for people to adapt in that they're proven business models, and yet it's something that's probably needed here. So that would be an area I would look at. But I think we're very fortunate. Educational, these statistics and demographics will drive us to where to go for the next opportunities. I didn't know what coding was until recently, but which I see it as a real driver of future business.
Fantastic. Val, you cover 2 states, Texas and New Mexico. What do you see that looks promising to your organization?
It looks promising. I see the next generation. We're a big family. We have 18 next generation, and they've all worked in one way or another in the warehouse when they were very young. And we now have about 8, I think, or 10 that are actually working in the business. And they've really brought a lot of new and innovative ideas. And I think we have tried to bring them in. The old guard, which is myself and my 4 brothers, we have one way of doing things, and it's who speaks the loudest is the person that usually gets the mic. And so they have kind of been really good about being instrumental and kind of toned us down a little because we wanted them to come on board. And so I think it's the next generation. As we engage with them and as we teach them our things, and then as they take that and then go forward, I think that's really where where for us our company will thrive, is teaching them and then letting go and let us step back and they take the reins, which is always hard. But I think it's that next generation and engaging them and then our businesses.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think you want to ask some questions? Anyone have any questions for them?
They're all tired.
Hungry.
It's always good to be the last ones, right?
If there are questions, you can get the mic and take it around. Otherwise, would you please check your table? Under the agenda, you'll see a survey, and Thomas is going to explain the survey to you in a little bit. But the most important thing, Judge Cortez, if you would come up here and make some, yeah, just come on up here. He's the visionary who got all of this started. We've heard a lot of words. We need action. Tell us, Judge Cortez.
You know, I had a very happy life always because I always listen to what women tell me and do what they tell me. So thank you. First of all, I want to thank all the speakers, and I want to thank Fortudo RGV for hosting this thing. You've heard a lot of information and received a lot of information today, and I've seen multiple studies throughout my tenure as serving our communities in different capacities. And the greatest barrier to fulfilling those plans has been execution. And here in the Rio Grande Valley, you know, we're unique that we have 47 cities when you talk about our both counties. So when you come up with a plan, who is going to execute it? What we're trying to do with the Prosperity Task Force is create a structure to bring everyone together with a common goal to remove the barriers to accomplish the goal. And together we can do it. Our future is going to depend on how well we compete with other areas. We're living in a very dynamic world. The jobs of tomorrow are not going to be the same as they are today. So we have to take care of today first. That's when we said we have a short-term goal, but we also have to have a long-term goal, is how do we prepare ourselves for the future. What we're trying to do with this Prosperity Task Force is just bring people like you together to form a plan and then have the structure to execute it. We've heard today that we have a lot of tools that are available to us to use. Now all we need is the will. Thank you for coming here.
I can't thank you enough, George Cortez. Your vision has been extraordinary. Did you find the survey? I'd like for Thomas to tell you a little bit about the survey, because the survey tells us you heard a lot of words. What are you going to do on Monday? Thomas, tell them about the survey and how you want to collect it.
Yes. Well, Nedra, you said it better than I did, and I just want to share the story. I was right outside the stage right now talking to a group of high school students who did a field trip to our forum today. The high school students were asking, how can I get more involved? We learned a lot today. This is the kind of information we wish we could have learned in high school. That survey in front of you is your ticket to get more involved. So we're asking for your information. What did you learn from today's forum? And some action items you or your organization would like to take moving forward. What we want to do at the Prosperity Task Force is to give you a place to stand and a pathway to go on so we can start getting the ball moving. Futuro RGV gets issues of concern and puts them out to the community, and the Prosperity Task Force takes those concerns and makes them into action. So all you have to do is fill out that form as legible as you can, leave it on your table, we will collect afterward, and we will be in touch with you very soon. Thank you all for an amazing forum. Nedra, I'll pass it on to you.
Okay. You've listened. You've heard. Now let's take action and make it happen. Thank you all.
Can we get all the speakers on near the stage for a photo?